You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to Question Reality. I'm Priscilla Leona, and I'm producer and host of this show. And we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. For 14 years, we've been providing our audience with entertainment industry career advice. Now, this show is for you if you are questioning your career reality about pursuing a career in show business, or if you're already working in the entertainment industry and you just need some tips, advice, or resource information on how and what it takes to elevate your career. Our guests include, ready? Emmy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, Tony Award winners. We have reality TV stars, and just a wide variety of working show business professionals, such as film, music, radio producers. We have casting directors, literary agents, casting agents, PR. Did I say that already? Losing my mind over here. It's a Sunday. PR agents, talent managers, screenwriters, publicists, actors, comedians, singers. We have novelists, script supervisors, stunt people, celebrity makeup artists, just and entertainment attorneys. Always, you need a good entertainment attorney. And then the list just continues. So, if you missed any of our shows, we hope you haven't. But if you missed any of our shows, here are 3 ways that you can listen to any of our past shows. Number one, you can do the free mobile app. LA Talk Radio has the free mobile app, and you can get that on the App Store and the Google Play Store, of course. And we also are on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Podcasts, Google, Audible.com, Stitcher.com. Just Google us, LA Talk Radio, or my name, Priscilla Leona, and you will find Question Reality. You can also listen to any of the past shows from the archive page, and that's what you're listening to right now. Well, actually not right now because we're live, but a little later you can listen to us on the archive page. Again, go to latalkradio.com and look for the show Question Reality, or you can type in my name. They have a little search box, so you can type in Priscilla Leona. And we ask for a little tiny favor. Please subscribe to our podcast via the Apple Podcast. And also, if you can give us a little like or a follow on all of our social media pages, we would love that. Everything is under Priscilla Leona. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all under my name, Priscilla Leona. Again, my tip every week, branding, branding, branding. Make sure that you keep it simple so that everyone can find you when they Google you. So Priscilla Leona, and give me a little thumb. Where's that thumb? Where the hell's the camera? Oh, there it is. There it is, little thumb. Finally, if you want to be booked on our show to promote and showcase your talents, your current or upcoming projects, and just help listeners by providing sage advice, we ask that you go to our official website, which is questionrealityradioshow.com. Questionrealityradioshow.com, not latalkradio.com. That's where we air the show. You want to go to the official website, and that is where you can see all of the upcoming guests and read their bios, watch their videos, go to their links directly. Tip, 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 tip. Everything is on questionrealityradioshow.com. And let me see. Oh, if you want to be a guest, go to the contact link. And it's really short and easy. We just need your name, your email, your title, and your website. And then we will consider bringing you on this fantastic, wonderful show where we have wonderful guests, fantastic, just so many cool guests, I think. Maybe biased, but that's okay. today is no exception. We have a boy, I like to call him my little James Bond secret agent man. He's so sexy, this guy. Oh my gosh. His name is Jeff Rector. He's the acoustic director of the not yet. Well, I haven't introduced him yet, but I guess he's coming on a little early. He is the artistic director of the Burbank International Film Festival, producer, director. He's a writer, he's an actor, he's a stand up comedian, a host, a spokesman, and just the multi hyphenation continues. It's just never ending with this guy. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things today, but I want to start with one of my favorite things to talk about, which is his book. Now, this book that Jeff Rector wrote is called I Was a Playboy Rabbit and Other Adventures. And you're thinking, what? What do you mean? He's a guy. How can he have been a Playboy? What? There's so many questions. Well, I was a Playboy Rabbit in Other Adventures. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It is the first of many books based on Jeff Rector's life. It chronicles the 5-year period in the 80s when Jeff lived and worked in New York. And he was unhappy with his career in Los Angeles at the time. So he moved to New York to pursue his dream of working in the entertainment industry. And he did work as an actor, a model, and a stand up comedian. He was doing it all. But then he luckily was offered a position at Playboy Enterprises, working for the iconic, legendary Hugh Hefner, who I was very lucky to meet one time. Shook his hand. His hands were soft as rose petals. I said, "Oh my God, Hugh, you've never worked a day in your life." And he said to me, "And Priscilla, I never planned to." And I will never forget that. That's when he was dating the Doublemint twins, and my friend was best friends with one of the Doublemint twins. But that's another story. That's not a Jeff Rector story. So Jeff, he became, of course, the most hated guy there because who in the 80s didn't want to be working at Playboy Enterprises as a Playboy rabbit?
A lot of
Uh,
jealousy.
They were so jealous. They were gathering the hemlock to poison them. They tried to electrocute them, run them over with a car. No, just
It was
but they were
it was
thinking
rough.
it.
It was,
They were thinking it, right? So you
it was
can
worth it.
imagine everybody, the chaos and the thrills and the excitement and the adventure and all the debauchery that Jeff was involved in. So this book, I'm telling you, if you want to know, I mean, who doesn't want to take a peek into Jeff's highly coveted and unique world, being a Playboy rabbit? But he was one of the very first, and he's got lots of stories in this book that, if that is a topic that interests you, of course you want to buy this book. So I would love for you to buy this book to help our little Jeff Rector out. It is on Amazon.com, and I believe it's only $19.99, but I could be wrong. But go to Amazon.com.
It's $19.99, and it's an Amazon bestseller.
And it's an Amazon bestseller too. See, left that out. Didn't know that.
Like you say, branding, right?
Yes, exactly. Again, it was I Was a Playboy Rabbit and Other Adventures. And you can also just go under Jeff Rector. But you've got to get this. Tell us, Jeff, what are some of the things in this book that would entice the average person to buy it?
Well, there's the
You can
there's the
see
Playboy
still
Mansion
strung out from the 80s.
there's
Still hungover.
funny stories about the Playboy Mansion, but it really is an inspirational book because even though it was a 5-year period when I was living in New York, a lot happened. And, I was just coming up as an actor, and I was still doing extra work to pay the bills, and I was a waiter and everything else that we do to support ourselves while we're pursuing our dream. But at that time, other than the working with the Playboy Club, which was a dream come true for any guy, of course, I was Charlie Sheen's stand-in on Wall Street
Wow.
for 3 months, and Charlie and Oliver Stone liked me, and I had a little part in the movie as one of the stockbrokers. After that movie ended, great ride that was, working with Daryl Hannah and Michael Douglas and Sean Young and you name it. It was Martin Sheen. It was an all-star cast. After that, then I was Tom Cruise's stand-in on Cocktail, because that movie came into town right after Wall Street, and because I had developed a good reputation of being a good stand-in to the stars, which is not easy, because a lot of people think they become their best friend, and
Yeah.
and they make that mistake, and they're gone. So anyway, it worked out. So there's a lot of great stories, not just about working for Playboy Enterprises and getting to meet and hang out with the great Hugh Hefner, but a lot of other adventures in New York City in the '80s, which was a really cool time to be there.
Mm. It was a good
Studio
time to be
54, that was the
anywhere.
time Studio 54 was also in its heyday. So I would,
Yeah.
because of the Playboy background, I was able to get into Studio 54 and the area, and all these other clubs that were, you know, you pretty much had to be somebody to get in there. So it was a
Mm.
great ride. It was a great experience. And then after that all ended, I came back to LA. I decided that New York was exciting. It was fun. I got a ton of work, but I'm not a city guy, and I
Mm.
just I needed to get out of there.
Mm.
There's a real although there's a lot of energy, there's a real negativity there too, because the winters are really harsh and the summers are
Mm.
really hot and humid, and people generally aren't that happy. And so I was like, I gotta get out of here. And then I came
Oh.
back to LA. So the next book, which follows up, I Was a Playboy Rabbit, will take place when I move back to Los Angeles. And then there's a whole slew of movies and stories and TV shows, working on Star Trek, The Next Generation, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So there's probably 4 or 5 other books, but I gotta sit down
Oh.
and gotta sit down and
I
write 'em.
did not know that. Are
But it
they
was fun.
are
It was a great time to be in New York.
Yeah, I love a good snowball personally. I'm from the East Coast, so I'm very used to the weather and I miss it, the four seasons. But I can see you being from California, that must have been a real harsh life with the weather. So let's talk about you've got lots of films coming out. Let's talk about the films that you have coming out in 2022. You
The
have a
last film,
bunch.
yeah, the last film I did was called The Tide Massacre. I did it in June. I co-starred with Michael Pare, of course, Meddy and the Cruisers and the Philadelphia Experiment. He's just done a ton of movies. In fact, it was the third film I had done with Michael. He's a really great guy. Dwayne Whitaker from Pulp Fiction was in the movie. It was directed by John A. Russo, who was the co-creator of the original Night of the Living Dead.
Mm,
So that's pretty good pedigree from the co-creator of Night of the Living Dead. Red
yes.
Tide Massacre. I play
Yes.
one of the deputy sheriffs, alongside Michael Pare, who's the sheriff, and it's sort of a cross between Creature from the Black Lagoon and um, any number of serial killer movies. An escaped convict falls in the water where this red tide is toxic, and it basically turns him into a monster.
Oh.
And then he goes around killing people like
Mm. Now
every
you
other
do
horror film. But it's kind of cool, and the effects were great, and I love sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. It's one of my favorite genres. So that's always fun to work a cool film like that.
and when is that how is that gonna be released? Where? To Netflix?
We hope.
We
It's in post production right now,
Okay,
so
okay.
it's 6 to 9 months for the
Yeah.
editing and the music, and
Yeah.
everything to be done. But sometime in 2021, probably around Halloween would be a great time
Oh, yeah, that
to
would
release
be
it. We don't
good.
know about distribution till it's finished, and but the producers know a lot of people in Hollywood, so we're hoping for a good release. Netflix would be great.
Yeah. Well, I saw you. I don't know how, but I guess clicking link to link to link. Um, I saw you in a
Excuse me.
scene. That's all right. I saw you in a scene with one, two of our favorite actors, but Albert being obsessed with Terminator. We saw you in a movie with opposite Linda
Hamilton,
Hamilton. Yes, she was, of course, from Terminator.
Sarah
Everybody should
Connor
know that. And
from
so I wanted,
Terminator.
yeah, all the Terminators. Well, not all the Terminators, right? She wasn't in. Yeah,
She
she
wasn't.
was
She wasn't in. She wasn't in one of them. One or
one of
two
them.
of
Yeah, I knew there was one. So I want to know, how is it to work with her, because she's so fabulous as an actress. What?
them.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, she is fabulous, and she's a great lady, and we had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. Just really cool, down to earth, and what's interesting is, you know, some people know and some people don't know, but I've got an identical twin brother,
Yes.
and a lot of people don't know that Linda Hamilton has a twin sister who
Oh.
I actually met years earlier at Trader Vic's in Beverly Hills. Just happened to bump into her, but we had some drinks and some laughs, and she's just super talented, super cool, super down to earth. She's doing a lot of the CW shows and Sci-Fi Channel movies. This was
Mhm.
an original for Sci-Fi.
Now
John
was
Savage from Deer Hunter
Oh,
was in it as well. He played the president.
wow.
Um,
Michael Madsen, was he in that, or
he was
no?
not.
He wasn't. But
So
you were in a film with
I've
him.
worked with Michael several times. Yeah, yeah.
He seems like a wild guy, like really fun, hip and
He's
happening.
he's a lot of fun. He's
He seems
he's been
it.
around. He's seen it all.
He has
He's
been
seen it
around a
all
while.
and done everything.
Well,
Another
you've
movie I'm excited about.
yeah.
I directed a superhero film this summer
Oh.
before I did Red Tide Massacre. It's called Surge of Power. Where there's fire, Surge of Power is the first openly gay superhero. So they call
Oh.
him Surge. He's got electrical powers. He can, control
Yeah.
electricity. Surge
Yeah.
of Power.
Yeah, I
And
get it.
so there's been a series of movies, and this one's called Where There's Smoke. There's a new superhero character called The Smoke, and
Mm.
he's actually a former professional wrestler and a really great guy. And Tim Russ from Star Trek Voyager is in it. I cast him. Sam Jones from um, not Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon
Mhm.
was in it. Joseph Culp from the Fantastic Four. So we got a lot of sort
A
of
lot of stars.
superhero sci-fi
Mhm.
names in it, and to be able to direct those kind of and Robert Picardo also, the holographic doctor from
Yes,
Star Trek
yes.
Voyager. He was great. And
Yeah.
I've known Robert for years, doing a lot of these Star Trek uh, autograph signing conventions we do all over the world, and that's a whole nother book.
Yeah, I met him one time, very nice guy.
He's a really great guy.
Yeah, he was in one of the films that I was producer on, but there were so many, people, but he was very, very nice. And then I went to a party at your house. You're always throwing parties, and I met Tim Russ, and I
Yeah,
actually met the Vietnamese guy, Dustin Nguyen, was it?
I think
Dustin?
so.
Yeah, he was
I
there,
can't keep
and
track of everybody.
yeah, you had a lot of Star Trek people there, and my husband was so bummed out because he's a huge Star Trek everything. So yeah, I know that you you frequently not only have them in your projects, but you have the ability to keep them on as friends, which is very, very hard to do, in this
Well,
industry. So
everybody jumps from as soon as one production's over, they jump onto another one. It could be
right.
out of the state, out of the country.
Yeah.
And sometimes you never see them again.
Yeah.
And that short time you have with them on the set is cherished because
Hmm.
it's a great run, a great time. And sometimes you make friends for the rest of your life, and sometimes you make great friends that you never see again.
Yeah,
It's the
that's
nature of
true.
it's just nature of the business. But I have to tell you, I tried doing the 9 to 5 job, and I don't. I'm my own boss,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and so
So
but
tell us,
you cherish those
you
times you
cherish
have
those.
with those people, and it's all a journey, and it's all adventure, and every film is different. You're working with somebody new, and so it's exciting to keep meeting new people and working and making
That's
new friends in the business.
that's true. Keeping them is another story. Tell us about this sports biopic screenplay, Mr. 59.
Oh, I'm so super excited. Mr. 59 is Al Geiberger. He's a very legendary professional PGA golfer who was, in the time of his heyday. It was Arnold Palmer, it was Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, all those great golfing names of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And as a fluke at a friend's fundraiser, I bought a raffle ticket and I put it in. I won the raffle for a free golf lesson. Well,
Oh.
I'm a pretty good golfer. I've been doing celebrity golf tournaments for probably 30 years now, and so I get to meet new celebrities, and that's a whole nother way of on the golf course. It's very social and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, I won this lesson, and it was from Al Geiberger. It was from John Geiberger, Al's son. So he gave me this pitching lesson, and we instantly hit it off and became friends. And he's a member at North Ranch Country Club, so I go out there and play with him once in a while, which is a real thrill because he's an excellent golfer and coaches the Pepperdine golf team and
Mm.
is a spokesman for Encore, which is um, a golf product company. But anyway, we got to talking, and I said, I asked him about his dad in a book, and he goes, "Oh yeah, there's a bunch of books." I said, "Yeah, but is there a book about him?"
Oh.
And I got the rights. One thing led to another. I got the rights to his life story for TV, film, for all media, basically.
Wow.
And I started writing the book, Mr. 59, Al Geiberger story, but quickly realized that that's a long time to roll out a book and everything. So I said, well, wait a
Mhm.
minute. Why don't we make it a screenplay? That'll be easier to sell and get it out there, and then the book will follow. So that's what I did. It took me a year and a half. We finally finished it. It's called Mr. 59. And it's not, it's Mr. 59 because he shot a 59, 13 strokes under par in one round of professional golf, and nobody had done that before. It's quite a miracle to do
Right.
that. And it was in Memphis, Tennessee, in the summer at 104 degrees with humidity. It was like 115, and so
Oh.
it was miserable. And to be able to shoot that kind of a
Mhm.
round, but
Do
it's not
that.
even about him being a great golfer because he is. He's a great guy. He's a great human being, and um, what's exciting is that um, we see into his life, and he suffered major tragedies, and
Mm.
he'd get back up, and then something else bad would happen, and then he'd get right back up and keep going. So it's an inspirational book. He lost his 2-year-old son in a drowning
Oh.
accident. He lost his father in the worst plane crash in
Oh my
aviation history, still to today. So that portion of the film alone plays like a disaster movie,
God.
and it was. Um, he was married 3 times and had some ups and downs and some bad marriages. And so it's really the story of this guy who just persevered, this little kid who grew up wanting to play golf and became followed his dream, became a worldwide professional golfer. And so we're getting the script out to Ron Howard and hopefully Kevin Costner and some other people. So we're very excited that somebody is going to pick it up and run with it, because it is a studio feature.
Mhm.
What's interesting is there's a little part with Clint Eastwood in it, because he actually played golf with Clint Eastwood at one of the celebrity golf tournaments. So I actually
Ah.
got Clint Eastwood in there.
Ah.
There's a scene where the tournament he wins in is the Danny Thomas Memphis Classic. As you know,
Ah.
Danny Thomas is an
Yes.
actor, singer. He did the show Father Knows Best
Mm.
at Desilu Studios with Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, who were pretty hot topics now.
Right.
With
And his daughter, Marlo Thomas, was a phenomenal actress as well.
yeah. So I've got a scene in there. Believe it or not, most people don't know this, and if I hope Albert's listening, but Desilu Productions was the production company for the original Star Trek.
Star Trek.
And most
Oh
people don't
God,
know that.
yes.
Desi
Yep.
and Lucy greenlit it when nobody else would touch it. They go,
Yes.
sci-fi,
Yes.
space, what? And they did it, and look what happened. It became an
I
iconic
know.
series. So I've got a scene in the movie where Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz are going into the commissary at the studio to meet Danny Thomas for lunch to talk about this golf tournament. And William Shatner, DeForest Kelly, and Leonard Nimoy are in the commissary having lunch on a break from Star Trek.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
crazy. And I tie in Hollywood where, because he knew a lot of celebrities. And
Yeah.
so we think it's going to be a pretty exciting story. And it's called Mr. 59. I'm very
Wow.
proud of
So
it.
you're just shopping it around now for investors. So we got a while, huh?
Well, for producers or a studio just to option it and
Option
make the
it.
film. I mean, they like it,
Wow.
they option it, and it goes into pre-production. It happens pretty fast.
Darn, I want to see it now. Darn, I want to see it
I
tomorrow. It
wanted to see it a
sounds
year and
so
a half ago.
great.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh my God. Well, God, I'm so excited about
It's
that.
exciting. It's very, very exciting.
Well, you know what else is exciting that I heard? Um, and of course, I'm all over the Burbank International Film Festival, but I want you to tell everybody about how I think last week, the Batman. Let's talk about the Batman, which Burbank International Film Festival screened, right?
Yeah, we were very, very, very fortunate. Kind of landed in my lap. A friend of mine, Christian Mioli, owns the Cine Lounge
Yeah.
theater in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, and he got the rights from Warner Brothers to show some advanced screenings, and so we jumped on it, and we did. We showed it the night before it actually opened nationwide.
Oh,
So our people got to see it before everybody else in the world. The problem was, I
what?
got cast in a movie for 2 days, and my last night was the same night of the screening. So basically,
Oh,
I had to go introduce the screening and then leave and drive up to
run out!
Valencia to shoot
Ah!
this. So I
Oh,
still haven't
no.
seen it yet. So, but
Oh,
what I've heard from everybody is it's fantastic, and the
yeah.
next couple of days I'm gonna run out and see it
I
because
know. We
I'm a big
want to. We
superhero
can't.
fan, and it really looks terrific.
Oh my gosh! I know. I can't wait. We want to see it at LA Live because they have that 4D chair that you get strapped in, and it just jerks you all around for all the good parts. So hopefully we'll be seeing that soon.
Hope
But
you
that
don't
was
feel like you get punched in the face when there's
oh
gonna be it's
well,
gonna be a lot of punching.
it's
It's gonna be
that
a lot of
that
punching in that
that
movie.
that theater is wild though. If you've never been, I would highly recommend anyone go there because if, for example, we went to see Planet of the Apes there. Oh my God, they piped in the smell of gorillas and
Oh,
misted it through the theater. Then, of course,
I'm
it
not
was in a
sure I'd want to
mist.
get
I
that
know we're like,
experience.
what?
I really.
No, but they really make it very realistic. realistic. So I'd want to see the Batman there. Um,
What are
let's
they going to
talk.
do? Put on Robert Pattinson's cologne, and
I
they're gonna
know
they're gonna,
what could they do? They
they're gonna
could waft
spat out
it.
the,
They
hey,
could
it smells
waft
like
it through
Robert
the.
Pattinson.
That's right. You never know. Now, let's talk about your role at the Burbank International Film Festival. You accept film projects from all over the world through, I believe, is it Film Freeway?
Yeah, there used to be Without a Box,
Yeah.
which was
What
the first
happened to
one,
them?
owned by Amazon, I think. And Film Freeway came along, gave them a run for their money, and basically put them out of business.
Yeah.
So
And they were
they
first.
are the
Yeah.
reigning king, and they're really great people, and it's a great platform
Yeah.
for
And
submitting
that's
your films, and super easy because they do all the work, really.
Yeah, so great. Now, a lot of people are extremely curious about how film festivals work. So, just very briefly, the
Just before,
most,
sorry to interrupt. Before we get
yeah,
that, let me just remind everybody
yeah.
that we are still taking submissions
Oh,
for
good, because somebody,
2022 through April 28th.
oh
So
my
you
gosh,
can
when
go
I,
to www.burbankfilmfest.org.
oh, good. I'm so
Submit your film.
glad.
We have over 25 categories
Yeah.
now. We've added a new LGBTQ
Oh,
category for
great,
shorts and feature films last year for the very first time.
great.
We created a TV pilots
Mm,
script
so you accept
category and a
those,
TV pilot presentation for people that have already completed a
right?
pilot that maybe has aired, maybe it hasn't. So that gives, because Burbank is the media capital of the world,
Yeah,
and it's just as much TV as there is film. The
yeah.
CW is right there at Burbank with all the superhero films and Archie and everything else the CW is doing.
Yeah, a
And
lot of
so
people don't
we
know
talked
that.
about adding a TV category, and we said,
Yeah.
we really got to, you know, get with it and include some television as well.
So are you gonna do that next year maybe, or
No, we started last
oh, you
year.
did? Oh,
Last year
last
was
year?
our
I didn't
very
even
first
know.
year, so this is our
Wow.
second year now.
Oh, fantastic. As a matter of fact, when I announced that you were coming on the show today, I swear I got 17. I don't even know how many there are now, but 17 people asked, "Oh, is it too late to submit my film? Is it too late?" And I thought, "Oh, I better ask Jeff today." So people can still submit again up until what
Absolutely.
deadline? Up
A-
until what date?
Up until April 28th, I think, is the
April
last day
28th.
of April.
And when is the Burbank Film Festival this year? Is it going to be at the AMC Theater like every year?
Burbank AMC 16 theaters. We're very grateful for our partnership with AMC. This year is going to be September 8th through the 11th. And
Wonderful.
my birthday's on the 12th. It was right in the middle of the festival last year. So
Yes,
I
Mr.
actually
Virgo.
can enjoy it, my
Mr.
birthday,
Virgo. Well, you
and
can.
not be working.
What's great is that at the Burbank International Film Festival, not only do you have the prestige of having it at the AMC Theater, but you always have the best opening nights and the best closing nights. And people should definitely buy tickets to those. Why, Jeff? I know why, but
Well,
why?
it's number one, it's great entertainment value when you get for a filmmaker. It's great to see what other filmmakers are doing on the independent stage. We once in a while we get a like Batman, we get a studio feature, but mostly it's independence.
Yeah.
And so, our prime mission is to support independent filmmaking from around the world. And we do. We get films from Japan, Yugoslavia, Mongolia. I mean, you'd be surprised
Yes.
where they come in from. But we're grateful for it. It's a great networking experience. You actually get to meet some Hollywood professionals live. People in the Midwest or in another foreign country don't usually have that opportunity
Yeah.
to rub elbows with Hollywood. And so really is a great opportunity. And after this is our 14th year, I've helped take it to a world-class film festival, and
Yes.
we're still growing, and we're still trying to make it the best we can.
Absolutely. Now, you just real quick, the number one question that I get, and I promised I would ask you this. Everybody is always curious to know, how is it
No, the
possible
answer
for
is no.
each film festival? How is it possible for every film festival to be able to screen the thousands of films to come in? People just want to know, how is it possible?
That's really a great question, Priscilla, because there are, you know, 100,000 film festivals around the world. And, the big question is, oh, who do I submit to, and which
Right.
one's better than the other? And it's cost money,
Yeah.
and it adds up. When I do my short films or feature films, and I just like everybody else, I have to submit them to film festivals just like everybody else. And it's about $1,000 for 30 or 40 films that I submit, because
Right.
it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you think you're gonna submit to 5 film festivals and get in 3 to 5, it's probably not gonna happen. I mean, it's a numbers game, so you gotta work the numbers. And it's surprising to me how one of my films will get into a film festival, and I'll win the best award that the festival has, and then the next day I'll get rejected from
Mm.
a festival in Iowa. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
like, there really
Right.
is no rhyme or reason. You just hope that the judges, they really have good judges. We do. We have spectacular judges, and I always kind of pick a few of my favorites so I can kind of match them with what our judges say, just to make sure we're on the same page. And every year, it doesn't surprise me that they pick the same good films that I do. And it's the judging. Who's doing the judging?
Yeah.
Are they filmmakers, or are they just students that the festival is getting for free to watch hundreds of movies?
Right. Well,
Um,
screeners, a lot of people are confused between judges and screeners. First, the process is it goes to a screener because there being thousands, you got to have somebody
not in
screen
not
and
in not in our
right?
case.
No,
Not in
not
our
in your
case. They're
oh, okay.
judged right out of the
Oh,
starting gate, and the
wow.
process starts to whittle them down. I can't speak for other. I'm sure Sundance does that,
Right.
because they get
Yes. Yes.
thousands and thousands of submissions. I mean, you need a full team for that.
Yeah,
But
I have a friend that screens for Sundance, and she said there's like 100 screeners, like at
yeah,
in
it's
on
crazy,
every day. And then I have
crazy.
a friend of mine, Ian, who is the in charge of the Robert De Niro festival. What
Tribeca.
Tribeca, yes. And he said they've got like 200 screeners. So I'm like, Ian, how? How do you do? But yeah, so
I got a funny story. In
yeah,
answer to your question, for me as a filmmaker,
yeah,
you know, because there's a lot of and of course, you're going to submit to Sundance, and you're going to submit to Slam Dance, and you're going to submit to Tribeca, and all the big ones, right?
yeah,
But I go, where would I want to travel?
right.
Where would I want to go if I got into Spain?
Right.
Yeah. So I said, Hawaii, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, where would I? Because it costs money, right? You gotta
That's
you gotta
right.
get in. They don't fly in. You
Nope.
gotta get airfare. You gotta get a hotel. I mean,
Yep.
it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you
And you
gotta
gotta
be. If
also
you get in, you gotta be prepared to go and enjoy it.
right. And when you're selecting a festival, make sure you try to do a little research, and
Yep. Research
find
is
out
key.
the genre. What is your film genre? And is
Right.
there, a film festival that really focuses on your genre, such as Jeff said earlier, the LGBT community. Submit to those first if that's your genre. So yeah, because you're gonna and you one thing you have to factor in as a filmmaker is you have to have a budget for submitting to film festivals. You
Right.
can't just all of a sudden finish your film and go, okay, where am I going to get the money to submit to the film festivals? Make sure you factor that in. A lot of people don't, Jeff. And then
Well, I
they
know
the film sits
that's that's
forever.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's funny because every day I'll get an email saying, oh, we spent all our money on production
I
and
know.
we're filmmakers without any money. Can you please give us a waiver for the
Mm.
fees? And no, those
No.
fees are what support the festival. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Right.
And the
And
ticket sales, the submission fees, that's a big part of what keeps us going. And the
right.
filmmakers think it's just about them. And oh, I don't have any money. Well, neither do we.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, part of
And
being a
so,
filmmaker is you have to be a business person. If you can't figure out how to factor that into your business plan, then maybe filmmaking isn't for you because you are an entrepreneur in every
well,
aspect.
anybody and actors, actors think all
Actors.
they have to do is go to school, become a good actor. That's just the beginning. I
Yeah,
mean, you've got to be able to promote you're a one man business. You're
that's
your own
right.
one woman
That's right.
business.
One person.
And you gotta you've got to look at yourself as a business, and you're the
Yeah.
president and you're the
Yeah.
CEO, and you've got to do whatever they, oh, well, I don't have money for pictures, and
Oh,
I don't have money for to do a new reel.
I have no
you,
patience for that.
you can't run a business if
You
you don't have
can't.
money.
What do you think
And
you're going to
it
do?
surprises me, and so in the filmmaking community it's like, no, we don't offer waivers. We never
No.
have. From the very beginning we
No.
said we got to be fair across the board. And
Right.
I said, if my parents submitted a film, they'd have to pay the submission fee too. I mean, that
That's right.
we really don't play favorites.
No
And it's just,
favorites.
and
Now,
you're right. You got to have money at
you
the end of
do.
production
You gotta
to
factor
promote
that
it,
in.
get it distributed, and get into some film festivals because
That's right.
they're not cheap.
That's who's going to see you. That's what your goal is. Now, I want to talk real quick because we only have a couple minutes, but I want to talk real quick and then we want to talk about your mom. But I wanted to talk about how your upcoming filmmakers panel on film composing and scoring. What's that about?
Film composing and scoring.
Well, I know, but what's it about?
I
Where
know, I
is
know.
it? When is it going to be? How do
I'm
you
teasing. I'm
submit?
teasing.
Okay.
It's yeah, we're very excited. We have an educational series, a filmmakers panel series, and our first one this year is going to be March 15th. I've got 5 top composers from television and film, shows like Madam Secretary on CBS, Westworld. Um, we've got an Emmy award-winning composer that did the scoring for my vampire film Revamped. And a funny story about that, he was an Emmy nominated. He got Emmy nominated halfway through the production of doing the scoring. He won the Emmy award. So by the end of the movie, I had an Emmy award winning
Wow.
composer. So that kind of, thank you, Lord. That kind of
Yes. That's a
happened right
feather.
during production. And he went from 0 to 60. And so it's going to be a Zoom.
Okay.
I don't,
How do we
I
know?
wish I
Go.
had
Where
that
do we
Zoom link.
go?
They can go to the burbankfilmfest.org. They can go to the website. It
Okay.
will be up probably this week. It'll be
Okay.
a simple link. It's free. People can click on it and get insight from these TV and film composers about for anyone interested in music and doing
Right.
music for films, because you know music is one of the key components in a motion picture.
Oh yes.
I've seen bad movies with an
Oh.
incredible score that makes it good. And I've
Mm-hmm.
seen studio pictures with the score that I did that didn't seem to work, and it can ruin it. So
Yes.
it's one of, and here's a tip to filmmakers: be very careful when you make your movie and who you choose, because that music is going to make or break your film, and you've got to be absolutely sure that you chose the right guy or gal, because um, you're gonna
It's
be
true.
stuck with it. And
Yeah.
so,
I mean,
oh,
I've
a
seen.
quick tip, sorry,
Yeah.
well, before I
Yeah.
forget about
Yeah.
it, a quick tip: filmmakers, get somebody, pick a scene, pick a key scene from the movie, right? Give
Yeah.
that to the composer, 2 or 3 minutes, and say, hey, give us a feel of what it would be, and then that's helpful, because once once you sign a contract and they do it, you're stuck with it, and you either
Yeah.
love it or you don't.
That's a
And
great tip.
so I
That's a
always say,
great
and
tip.
everything I do, if I'm working with someone new, I say, I need a little sample. Here's a scene. Let's see what you do
I
with it.
like that. I love that. I never even
And
thought
it's
that,
going to
but
save
yeah.
money ultimately, and the filmmaker is going to be much happier with the end product.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching I'm not going to mention the movie, but I was watching a movie. It got 4 stars. It was a ton of celebrities in it, and the music was so loud you couldn't even hear the dialogue. And I said,
Yeah.
"How did this get past the studio? How did they release that?" But it
Because they're
happened.
looking at the explosions and all the action, and
And then it would be
probably
loud,
don't care
and then
about the acting.
when they had the dialogue, you could hardly hear them, and I didn't know
Right,
if I had hearing loss from the explosions, and I just couldn't
right.
hear, but that's happened several times, so it's very important, and color correction.
Louder doesn't make a soundtrack
I
better.
know, and color
Probably
correction
worse, as
is
you can, yeah,
very important.
as you said, it's worse. Yeah,
Color correction, very important. Well,
yeah.
that's great. Now, we only have a couple minutes, but I wanted you to feel free. I understand that you recently, and I'm so sorry, you suffered the loss of your mother. Please tell us about this wonderful woman that created you and your twin brother.
My mother's maiden name was Phoebe Joan Bortz,
Ah,
and her mother came over from Germany, early 1900s, and she took her middle name of Joan Bortz, and she became Joan Rector when she married my father. She just was an amazing woman. You talk about having great parents. They're both great, but we recently lost my mother. She was battling with Alzheimer's and
oh,
dementia for a while. Her mother died from it, so we had a pretty good idea that she was going to follow that same path, and she did. And she loved to sing, and she was singing right to the end. She passed away quietly in her sleep, which is great. It's not
mm,
great, but it's the best way to go.
yeah, it's the way.
And may we all be so lucky.
I
But she
know.
was just a great mother, and I remember sitting next to her in church. I was 25, and she had 3 kids, and I still wasn't even married. I didn't even have a girlfriend at the time. And she already was raising 3 kids. I'm like, how did you do it?
How'd you do it?
I can't imagine. And my dad worked very hard, and she was the stay-at-home mom, and they didn't have a lot of money. And for years, they had 2 girls too, so there were 5 kids. And my
Wow.
dad wound up becoming an art director and getting a really good job, and then got into voiceovers and became really successful. But there were years in the beginning that it was tough, and it was like,
Wow.
I don't know how they did it, but they did. They raised 5 great kids, and I'll be going to Florida in April for her memorial service. So I'm writing those thoughts and memories down. But she just was a fantastic woman. She laughed at my jokes. She supported and loved me even when I screwed up, and there was always just a sense of fun and support, and especially saying, "Yeah, I want to be an actor and I want to go into Hollywood." A lot of parents go, I don't think so,"
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were supportive, and I am the man you
How's your
see
dad
before you
doing?
today because of
H
her. I love you,
how's your
Mom.
dad? I love you too, Mom. I love you because you're Jeff's mom, and you did such a great job raising him. I mean, how you turned out. Obviously, she was very proud, and so was
I'm
your
not
dad.
perfect, but I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm okay.
you're better
I'm not
than.
terrible.
Yeah. How's your
Not a
dad
terrible
taking
person.
it? Is your dad doing okay?
He's taken it pretty hard. I mean,
Oh,
he he wanted to keep her at home as much as possible because you never know what's going on in hospitals these days with COVID
yeah.
and everything else, and it's very dicey, and we weren't sure that that was the best place for her really ultimately. But he was her caretaker until he couldn't anymore,
Mm,
and then they had to bring in a professional staff, and but she went peacefully and quietly, and
Thank God.
I
That's
live
the
every day
oh,
like it's
that's
my last, because we
yep,
never know when we're going to get our ticket punched, and
yep,
life on Earth is so short anyway that
it is.
we'll all be
Gotta
joining us
treasure it.
soon enough.
Treasure it. And that's the best we can hope for, is to go. At least I hope that I can go in my sleep too. But I know, what are we gonna do?
I would
If I
just say,
go out in a grandiose manner, it's okay too.
I would just tell everybody that, reach out to your parents and tell them you love them.
Right.
And, even if you're not speaking, or you're having some communication problems, because you never know, one day they're going to be gone, and you
Right.
wish I was able to say goodbye to her,
That's
and
true.
you wish that you had that closure, and you wish
That's
that
right.
you were able to do that. So
Yeah. Because
even if
after
you
they're
just say I
gone,
love
yep.
you, whether they accept it or not,
Or
that's
thank you. Thank you. Thank
thank
you for
you.
taking
Yeah.
care of me. Thank you for everything. Well, speaking of thank
Thank
you
you.
for
No, thank
everything, Mr.
you.
Jeff Rector.
Thank
I want to
you.
thank you for your time and effort being a guest. You're always so lovely to have on the show, as you are in person.
You're
Little
fantastic, and I ask
yeah.
everybody to always question reality.
Oh, I like it. And I ask people to go see Jeff Rector because you may not see from his gorgeous appearance, but he is a very funny comedian. So if you're ever lucky enough to get an email inviting you to go see him, I highly recommend him. He's
I want to say
very
one
fantastic.
last thing,
Yeah,
Priscilla.
yeah,
Um, the very beginning of 2021, I launched my one man show.
ah,
Who is Jeff Rector? And it was a lifelong dream of mine. And it's a long story. We don't have time for it now, maybe
yeah,
next time.
yeah.
But I did it. I'm super excited. That's going to be up on my website. I'm going to
Okay.
send everybody a link so you can see it. We streamed it worldwide from the Whitefire Theater, and I'm very proud of that. And hope you guys can check it out.
Well, go to his
Learn all about me.
website, jeffrector.com, jeffrector.com, or Burbank. Is it burbankfilmfest.org?
Yes, that's it.
Yes. All right. And get your submissions in. Buy Jeff's book. And we will see you in the future.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.